When I was a teen in high school, my teachers knew that I had been sexually abused by my great uncle. And so they attributed all the effects that I was showing, all the symptoms, to that. What they didn't know was that I was still being raped and tortured by my parents and by other cult members every day and night. But I couldn't tell them that because I was terrified too. I'd seen them murder other kids and people, and they had told me that they would kill me if I talked. I was living with my abusers who were torturing me every day and night and using mind control. Also, I couldn't remember. I didn't remember, although I was trying to. The memories were trying to break through because I had to dissociate to survive. So there were split off parts of me who were enduring it instead of me. And so I couldn't talk about it. But I showed so many symptoms, and then they were just attributing it all to the child sexual abuse that had happened years ago because that's what made sense. They didn't know, and I wish they'd been able to look further and had been more educated, but I couldn't tell them. I was doing things like walking facing the walls sometimes so that nobody would bump into me or touch me. I couldn't bear to be touched unless it was someone really safe, or jumping at touch. I was dissociating in class. Sometimes I was trembling and dissociating while I had trauma memories come at me, or I would curl up into a ball. I was so shy that often I couldn't speak out loud enough for people to hear me. I would avoid groups of people. When we had to do group work, I had my chair outside of the group because I was so scared and triggered all the time with all the trauma memories that were coming at me, but also all the trauma, all the torture that I was living through every day and night. I was not okay. And I was showing it in so many ways. Oh, I was also smashing with my arm through the doors, and it would leave bruises. And one teacher did ask me, are you being hit at home? And I had to say no, because that's not what was happening, but also I couldn't stay there. And I mean, I was getting hit sometimes in the torture, but it wasn't what was causing these bruises. And I couldn't tell them what was going on. I wish I had had the safety to do that. I wish I had had enough support that I could have. I did have two really incredibly supportive high school teachers, my English teacher and a history teacher, but I didn't have enough safety. I was being tortured every day and night at home. So, and wherever the cult took me. So I just couldn't. Also, I was at that time working with a therapist, and I could say that. And in some ways, to me, that was really helpful at the time because I was trying to deflect from it because I was so scared and terrified. I couldn't. There were parts of me who knew that we couldn't talk about what was happening because, my abusers were killing people, because I was being tortured. It would have increased the torture so much more. And they already had, because I had disclosed about the sexual abuse and because I was not conforming really well. And the therapist that I was working with at that time was chosen by the cult, so it wasn't a helpful relationship, and she was reporting everything back. But I did still progress in my memories. I had read The Courage to Heal by Ellen Bass and Laura Davis over and over and over, and it did have a section on cult abuse, a small section. But just even the sections on the child sexual abuse were incredibly helpful, and they were like a support to me. I carried it around everywhere.